Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike, and today is the 10th of April. 10th of April, it is 11 a.m. Central European Time. I am back with another daily show, as we always do, at 11 o'clock, Monday to Saturday. We are always here. We've got a good show today. We have a lot of X-Files. We have some questions. We've had a really good question from Mags in chat, which I'll go through at the end of the X-Files regarding the ASI token, which should hopefully be launching soon. We're going to go through the markets. We're going to talk about Arthur Hayes and his attitude towards crypto. We're going to talk about undervalued. We're going to talk about RWA picks, XRP time, and then we're going to talk about Cathy Robin Wood. There's a little play on words for you. And then we're going to talk about our final thoughts. Good morning to everybody that has tuned in. You tune in every day. Greatly appreciate it. Ronald is in chat. Good morning to you, Ronald. Good morning to Tariq, to Mags, Solo Sky, to Kishan, to Hidden Agendas. Good morning to you all. The same crowd is here. It's great to see. Now, before we begin, just a very quick one. We have put a calendar event up for a week today. You need to go and check that calendar event out. We're going to be doing a token night. We try and do these as often as we can. This is the first one we've done for about 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to look at a token. We did a review of this token a few days ago, and we're going to do a token night. We're going to talk about the token, go through it, explain why this is a good token. We are not being paid to do this, but we have asked for a donation of tokens to give away to the community, and we will be doing a token giveaway on that night. So if you are watching on a couple of different platforms, you will know what I'm talking about. If not, then it will be added as soon as we can. Some platforms that we stream on, we cannot add future streams. We can only add one at a time. Other platforms, we can add streams into the future. So depending on where you are, just go and check our live schedule. If it's there, follow it. It's next Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm telling you now because I don't want you to miss out on it. I'm not going to tell you how many tokens we're giving away, but there will be an hour that evening where we talk about the token. You'll have to do a few things like follow them on X and participate in things like that. Nothing too serious. We're not going to go to ask you to go and buy the tokens or anything like that. Just get involved. So that's next Wednesday. Obviously, we stream every day at this time, so make sure you follow us. Bottom left-hand corner, we're just under 118,000 fans. That's ticking up. We were under 100,000 in January, I think. So we've come a long way. Bottom right-hand corner, that's my next target for Bitcoin. We need to get to that. And we're going to talk about Bitcoin in a minute because we failed to do what I said yesterday. So we need to go over that as well. But before we begin, we're going to go through the markets and then I'm going to answer the question from Mags in chat. Bitcoin then is struggling. Now, there is a reason for it. And the reason is the live show topic of the day. In the middle of the chat, you will see a CPI struggle. There is CPI data coming out today, I believe, and I think that has caused the dip. The CPI data is coming out. I think we are going to see a slightly high inflation figure, slightly higher than expected, and I think that's going to weigh the markets down because it's not just Bitcoin that's weighed down and crypto, it's everything. So I think that's the reason, and I think it's priced in. So the good news is we haven't crashed below 68, 69,000. The bad news is we're running out of days to get to the halving at a higher price than where we are. Brogan still expects us to be in the 90s by the halving. I don't know if we're going to make it because the macro environment affects the prices of crypto, and we can't really. There's nothing we can do about that. Again, I say it all the time. We don't have a crystal ball. We do expect, I think we're going to be in the 70s by the halving. I think we could be about 75 to 80,000 by the halving. Brogan thinks we're higher because the charts are telling him that. If this macro environmental data is coming in telling us otherwise, then we will have to take that into consideration. But we are struggling at 69. There was a CME gap over the weekend that's now been filled as well. And the last time we filled a CME gap, we know what happened. We pumped up. So let's go through and have a look at that in a minute. So Bitcoin 69, Ethereum's done reasonably well. Outperformed Bitcoin over the last 7 days. It's at $3,500. The 24-hour charts, Ethena is up 9%. Bitenza is up 9%. Nervos is up. Not many gainers. It's been a bit of a rough 24 hours. Again, dog with hat. I'm glad to see this slide, and not for the holders of dog with hat, but because if we're going to have a run in the bull run of meme coins, we cannot be having dog with hat at $5 billion. It needs to retrace, maybe come back down to $2.50 to $3, and then during the bull run, you never know, $10, $15, but we can't have coins too far ahead just before the halving. They have to be at a good price so we can have the run. Aptos is down 12, Lido is down, Gala is down. Remember, for me, 6 cents for Gala is its key price, and we have gone above it, we've come below it. 6 seconds. No longer hear me. Let's have a look. Testing 1 2 3. No, it's 6 seconds. No longer hear me. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. I think it's okay. Maybe it was a little bit of lag. I'm watching the audio now, and I can see my audio is up there. All right. Good morning, Gianni. Good morning, Tariq. Okay, perfect. I'll carry on. Maybe it's your end, Solo Sky. I don't know. Just before we went live, our internet was reset in the house. So maybe they're doing some work. Maybe our speeds are down. Anyway, where we Gala? Yeah. So Gala at 6 cents for me is a good price for us to go into the halving, and we're at 5.9 cents. That's a good price. We were way down at 2.2 cents when we said that 6 cents was the target. We've hit that and we've stayed there. Remember, we don't just pick numbers out of thin air. We do have reasons for prices that we give you. And 6 cents on the Gala chart is a good price to accumulate it. But don't go and buy it on my word. Go and check out the project. Pyth is down then to 75 cents. Conflux is down. Floki is down. Optimism is down. So that's really the gainers and the losers over the last 24 hours. Now, the question that was asked in chat just before we went live. So there are three AI tokens: Fetch, Ajax, and Ocean Protocol. They are all carrying out votes on whether to merge. Those votes will be finished by the 19th of April, which is 9 days from now. If they all agree and they decide to merge together, they will become ASI, which is something like Artificial Super Intelligence Token or something like that. And the question was, should you buy the tokens now, or should you wait for the merge of this token? Now, it's a very good question. Depending on one of two things. If you already hold the bags of AI tokens that you want, and you happen to hold Fetch and Singularity, which are the two tokens I've been talking about for a year. If you already hold those tokens, just hold them. That's my advice. If you don't hold any AI tokens, I personally think that, let's go and show you very quickly. I think if you don't hold any AI tokens, you should consider adding AI tokens. You can go into CoinMarketCap, you can type AI into the search bar, and it will show you all the top AI tokens. Now, for me, Fetch, Singularity, and wasn't it Ocean? There we go, Ocean. Those three tokens are merging. Now, if you want to get a calculator and a spreadsheet out, you're going to get 0.44 ASI tokens for Ocean and 0.44 for Singularity. If you look here, that's $1.08. That's $1.04. If you hold Fetch, you will get 1 for 1. So what you need to do is write them all down and work out the conversion rate of each. So if you buy Singularity at $1.04, you're going to be getting more ASI than if you buy Ocean Protocol at $1.08. You'll get 3% more. If you don't hold AI tokens, in my opinion, at this stage with these market caps, it doesn't matter whether you buy it now or you wait for the token. I think there will be a dip in the price, but I think that dip will be short-lived. This token is going to be the AI token of the bull run, in my opinion. Why? Very simply, it's called itself artificial superintelligence. So I said this a few weeks ago. When you're on an exchange and somebody says to you, oh, you need to go and look at AI, it's the future. And you think, oh, I'm going to go and have a look at what tokens I can get. I've got my meme coins, I've got Bitcoin, I've got Ethereum, I've got my meme coins, I've got my dog in a silly hat, and I've got my lizard with a silly face. I need to go and get some AI tokens. And you go down the list and you'll see Near Protocol, you'll see BitTensor, you'll see Render, you'll see the graph, you'll have no idea what they are. And then you will see artificial superintelligence, and you are going to say to yourself, artificial superintelligence, wow, that's going to be the coin to buy. And retail will buy it based on the name. And if you don't believe me, look at what happened in the last bull run with Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic ran because Ethereum was running, and people saw Ethereum Classic and went, oh, that's the original version of Ethereum, I'll buy that. With no research done whatsoever, they went out and bought Ethereum Classic. So why do I think it's going to run? Number one, they are three great projects. And number two, the name. And you're not retail, you've done your research, you're in early enough. If you don't hold AI, I would personally hold any one of Fetch, Singularity, or Ocean for this combination of the three. If you don't put some money aside, and when the merge happens, an ASI token is launched, if you're lucky and it does dump very briefly, buy it then. But if you're holding the tokens, I've already got my tokens. I bought them a year and I bought them about 18 months, 15 months ago, something like that. I don't know. I'm not going to do anything with mine. I'm just going to leave them where they are. And when they're converted, great. But for me, they're going to become the largest AI project in crypto without a shadow of a doubt. So whether you get them now, whether you get them in a month or two's time, just buy some AI tokens. I can't tell you to go and buy these tokens because I don't give financial advice. But if I was a betting man, I would bet on that project doing incredibly well in the bull run. You're going to be talking about tens of billions for those tokens. Now, the question is, and the same thing for every project, are they going to work and are they going to generate money? Now, Fetch, for me, has a great business model. Singularity has a good business model. Adoption is needed to generate the revenue, to make the money, to make the project profitable. It's all well and good having an AI project, but it has to actually do something. So for me, own some AI tokens. That's my advice. I'm not telling you which one to buy. Render is a great protocol. Render is a great product. So is the graph. Some of them are more AI than others, and some of them are in different areas. So Render doesn't really compete with the graph. Fetch and Ajax in particular are very complementary. They're in different sectors. But I think together, it will become a profitable business. And the only threat to them is if somebody like Microsoft or Google launches a competitor. But anyway, I always like to start these streams now. I follow this lovely little channel, and this is a group of fluffy king penguin chicks chasing a feral cat in the Falkland Islands. Why am I showing you this? Because that feral cat is an influencer trying to get you to buy their token that they're being paid to tell you to buy. And you are a penguin and you're chasing him because you want to follow him. And he could lead you off the edge of a cliff. He could lead you into the dragon's den. He could lead you into a pack of lions. And that is why I have put a picture of a cute little kitty being chased by penguins up as the first X-file of the day. And now we're going to get a little bit more serious. Let's move on. We're going to run out of time, aren't we? I have to be finished by 5 or 10 past 12 today because I've got a meeting at 12:30. So Cynthia Lummis, one of the good guys or good people in America. The central planners are shaking in their boots. Decentralization is a goal written explicitly and implicitly engineered into the United States founding documents. Keep going. So Cynthia Lummis has highlighted that ranking government officials feel threatened by Bitcoin because they cannot control it. And that is the problem. America was built on freedoms. This current government, over the last few months, not few months, maybe the last few years, hasn't been built on freedoms. It's been built on control. So we're now at the stage now where Bitcoin has been mocked, Bitcoin has been laughed at. We're at the stage now where they realize that it is a real impending threat. It's never going to become the world's reserve currency, but it's uncontrollable. And some of the conversations I've seen from the senators this week are nothing short of libelous. But the issue is with Bitcoin, of course, is it doesn't have a centralized body to sue them. So they can say what they want about Bitcoin and Bitcoin can't fight back. But you just have to remember, as I said yesterday, do as they do, not as they say. Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, Fidelity, they're all getting in on the action. They're telling you it's bad. They're telling you it's this, that, and the other, and they're going out and buying it. Very simple. They're trying to keep the price down. Now, I am not going to go through this. I'm just going to tell you what's happening. Solana has been very slow the last few days because it's become a victim of its own success. And what does that mean? It means that Solana is. We are a 5-year-old Bitcoin holder is listening. Good for you. Not sure you are 5, but there we go. Solana's been very slow. It's a victim of its own success. People have taken to Twitter to call out Solana for being a pile of junk. And Solana has published a vote which has been passed enabling the timely vote credits mechanism. And what's happening is that validators are waiting to see which of the blocks is going to be allocated, and they're waiting for that decision to happen, and it's slowing the network down. What this does with the timely vote credits is it speeds up the process of transactions being validated to reduce the stress on the network. That's all it's there for. So it's passed. Just letting you know this because there's been a lot of bad press about Solana being slow. It's got congestion, or I think it's called Or Crypto, is a proof of work system running off the back of Solana. It's currently taking up about 15% of Solana's transactions. This is going to solve the problem and get Solana back. Remember, they're building out a system in real time. You're going to have these problems on every network. Don't let anybody tell you that Solana is any worse than any other chain, because if you dropped this amount of transactions onto Cardano, it would collapse. Bitcoin, it would collapse. Ethereum, it would collapse. Don't listen to the haters of Solana. Don't listen to the haters of ADA. Each chain has its own problems. Each chain has its own benefits. Now, moving on, I mentioned before, the CME gap has closed. This happened 2 weeks ago, where the price came back to close the gap about halfway before continuing higher. And there we can see the CME gap. And we talked about this. CME gap is now closed. The CPA data comes out today. I think a combination of those two things has brought the price down. We know what's going to happen next. We're going to go to my $74,000 target, and I'm going to come on the stream tomorrow, and I'm going to be smug. Just so you all know. Moving on then, very quickly, we've got to get through these as fast as we can. Again, Adrian, another guy that I follow on Twitter, me buying one more dip, and that could very well be me. That could very well be me. in the bank, handing over my last $50 to go and buy more Bitcoin. Because remember, when the price comes down like this, these are buying opportunities. These are not a change in the nature of crypto. We're in a bull market. We're heading into the halving. In 2 years' time, I will have a different conversation with you. And if the price starts to drop, I will be far more bearish than I am now. I'm not saying we're going to $1 million. I'm not saying we're going to $500,000. I'm saying that on average, over the next 6 to 18 months, we're going to go up. Now, another thing, you will see this lady on Twitter or X, and she used to be one of the good guys. Layla Heilburn, I think she's called. She used to be one of the good guys, and then she sold out. And I'm going to be honest, she sold out, and she shills projects, and I'm not having a go at her. This is another problem with crypto and crypto advertising is you see people who come on and they are in Dubai. They've got sunglasses on, they've got tans, they've got cocktails in their hands, and they're sitting there telling you how great this new project is going to be. And you're like, wow, look how successful they are. They're successful because they sell you garbage. They sell you garbage and they make tens of thousands of dollars, and they go and live in Dubai where it's tax-free, and they sit by a beach and tell you how terrible you are for not getting in on this coin. You need to avoid anyone that looks really cool telling you to buy a coin you've never heard of. Okay? The one thing I agree with is that meme coins do bring people to crypto, the same way that Bitcoin is bringing people to crypto, but everything else is wrong. They tell you that if you spend $100 on this token, you will make $1 million. Where does the money come from to give you that $1 million? I tell you where it comes from. These people are given these tokens and they keep them. And then they make these videos telling you how good it's going to be, how high it's going to go. And they get the tokens for free. Now, let's say they get 100,000 tokens and this token goes to $1 and it's pumping. It goes 10, 20, 50, $1. And you think, oh my God, it's going to go to $10, and you buy it. This person or people like this will sell their 100,000 tokens for $1, and they've made $100,000, and you've got a token that you've spent your $100 on that's currently worth $5. Okay? It's a scam. It's a racket. And they do it all the time. And I'm not having a go at Leia in particular, but she is one of 50 or 100 of these people out there flogging you dead horses. So anyone that tells you these influencers don't compare to Mike or the information he gives us, I try very hard to not do this. And another thing, Mags, is we are a lot poorer than we should be because we don't accept them. Now, next Wednesday, when we do this token review that I was telling you about before, I can say, hand on heart, clear conscience, we've made a video about the project that hasn't been paid for. The tokens that we receive, we're going to give them away. We're not going to tell you to buy the token. We're not going to advise you to buy the token. We're going to give the tokens away. And we're not everybody that watches is going to get the tokens for free. We're going to do the crypto warehouse wheel of fortune again. And we might give 5 people or 10 people these tokens. If those tokens moon, fantastic. If they go to 0, you've not lost anything. That's how we prefer to play this game. We don't want to be paid. We've been offered money to send you to casinos, to send you to these AI trading bots. But where would $500 get us if 20 people out there get scammed? It's not going to happen, and we're not going to do it. Moving on then, Bitcoin could slump around halving time, Arthur Hayes says. Now, Arthur Hayes is a funny chap. He was one of the founders of an exchange, and he always blows hot and cold. We're going to the moon, or we're going to crash. He believes that Bitcoin could face selling pressure in the second half of April as the bullish impact of halving is already well entrenched, Hayes says in a blog post. US tax payments could suck a dollar liquidity from the financial system, fueling risk aversion and fire sale of risk assets. Now, that is a fact. When it's tax season in America, there is selling pressure on Bitcoin, and that is just a fact. But when that selling pressure subsides, 6 months' time, and the supply shock hits, we're going to rip. Now, my advice, which is not financial advice, is unless you're a day trader, if you've got one Bitcoin today, and this man is telling you that you need to sell now because the price is going to crash, I'm going to go through the charts and explain why it's a terrible idea. You've got one Bitcoin and you've been building that Bitcoin up for 2 years, and then some person who you've never met is telling you to sell it because the price is going to go down. And you know we have a limited supply. There's a supply shock coming. We've just started the halving. Does it matter to you if we go from $69,000 to $55,000? No, because you're not selling. The only time, and this applies to pension schemes as well, the only time you have a problem is when you come to sell or cash out, and you come to sell or cash out at the wrong time in the market. And for pension funds, for example, people who retired in 2008 shouldn't have retired in 2008. They should have continued working for another year or two and allowed their pensions to recover, because that pension that they cashed out was 30% less in 2008 than it would have been in 2010 or 2006 because of the crash. It's not about how much your crypto is worth on paper today. It's irrelevant. It's how much you want to sell your crypto for in the future. And you should all have a spreadsheet. And in one column, the name of the crypto. The second column, how much you've paid for it and what the price was. So let's say you all bought one Bitcoin at $50,000. In another column, you should have a price that you will sell at. That price that you sell at is entirely up to you. Now, when I first started, I had no idea what the price of Bitcoin was going to go to. And I would listen to all of these different people online, and they were all wrong. Every one of them was wrong, including me. I'm going to be wrong, right? But let's say you set your own target, and let's say that target is $150,000. That should be the price that you aim to attain. But you should start selling at 130 and 140 because you're going to dollar cost average out. So if you hold Solana and you say, right, I want to sell my Solana at $500 for argument's sake, you start to sell at 430, 440, 450, and you start to dollar cost average out, maybe 10%, maybe 5%, whatever it might be. Nobody can tell you to sell your Bitcoin. Nobody can tell you to sell your Solana. That's entirely your choice. And not if you turn around to me and said, I've sold everything at $90,000, I no longer have a mortgage, I've paid for my kids' education, I've paid for my pension fund. Why would I then say to you, well, you were silly for doing that because it could go to $200,000? Because the key word there is could. It could also drop from 90,000 to 60,000. So you should have your own targets. And people like this, short-term chop will happen the closer we get to the halving. We could be at $74,000 at 10 p.m. tonight. We could be at $65,000 at 10 p.m. tonight. But none of that matters if you're not going to sell until the end of next year. So that's how I would play it. So let's go through what he's got to say. He calls it a heat wave. Oh no, the blog post is called Heat Wave. The bullish narrative stems from data showing Bitcoin tends to chalk out stellar multi-month rallies in the months after the halving, an event that reduces, we know about this. The narrative of the halving being positive for crypto prices is well entrenched. When most market participants agree on a certain outcome, the opposite usually occurs. Now, I do agree with that as well. Solo Sky, the ASI voting, there's different dates for the 3 different chains, but they will all have voted by the 19th of April. That's a key date. Why have they picked the 19th of April, Solo Sky? Because the 20th of April is the halving. What you've got to understand, and I'm going off topic here, we'll ignore this article, he's talking nonsense, is if you are a blockchain, like Matic, Polygon, or Solana, whatever, are you going to release your bullish news before or after the halving? You're going to do it after the halving. And you are going to build 6 to 12 months worth of bullish news that starts in May and runs to next May. And every month you're going to pump out good news. And your price will rip. They have decided to create the ASI token the day before the halving. So in May, or even the end of April, when this token swap happens, they have chosen the start of the halving to launch the ASI token. That's why it's going to rip, in my opinion, because they've timed it to perfection. And as I was saying a second ago about Arthur Hayes, it doesn't matter whether we go up or down from here too dramatically. We're in the bull run. We're not going to $20,000. If we go to 75, to 60, to 80, to 55 over the next few weeks, it won't matter to you, other than you might want to consider putting some dollars to one side, or euros or pounds to one side, to buy more crypto. Now, if you look at where we are right now, we've kind of hit this wall here, haven't we? We're kind of in this range. Now, just bear in mind that 69,000 and change is the previous all-time high. So it's no coincidence to me that this is what we're sitting at right now. I do think that $74,000 is our target. We are sitting on this price here. Let's go down a little bit just to show you. Now, this is either of these two scenarios could happen. Okay? That could happen before the halving. That could happen before the halving. Arthur Hayes is telling you that we're going to have a dip after the halving. Okay? Now, let's say you sell your Bitcoin today for $69,000. And we do this. And he's right, and we dip. And what happens if we do that? What happens if you sell today and that price does come back down and comes back down to here? Now, there is a very good chance that we have that. And maybe we do that after the halving. But he doesn't know any better than you or I what's going to happen. But you know, and I can't do it on this chart, it won't allow me to. You know that your target for Bitcoin is probably north of this figure here. So my target for this bull run was $105,000, and that was before the ETFs. So let's put a line in here. This is what I expected a year ago for us to hit. Now, why did I pick that target? Because it is the law of diminishing returns. And if you multiply the previous all-time high by 1.6, you get to about $105,000. And if you go off the law of diminishing returns, I based it on the number of X's from the previous all-time high upwards. And my target was $105,000. I think we could go higher because of the ETF and FOMO that happens. So if we go to my target, what does it matter if the price is doing this? It doesn't matter a jot. Bitcoin is the only coin you should really be considering holding long term, because we don't know about the uncertainty to do with Ethereum and what's going on with the SEC right now. We don't know what's going to happen in America with the elections over the next, remember, the elections happen, that's the next 5 years, this year and then the next 4 years. So we don't know what's going to happen in America. We don't know what's going to happen with Taiwan, for example. We don't know what's going to happen with Eastern Europe. There's a lot of macro events that can hit Bitcoin outside of price action. So the only surefire bet, in my opinion, is Bitcoin. I do think Ethereum and Solana and Cardano and XRP are going to be here. I know all of that. But if you had If you had me tied to a chair and you had me put all of my crypto wealth into one token to hold for the next 6 years, it would be Bitcoin. And that would take out all of the meme coins, all of the proof of stake coins, everything, because Bitcoin is the only one that has avoided the eye of all of the governments, whether it be the American government, European, UK, whatever it might be. It's uncensorable, it's decentralized, it's a store of value, it's the original, it's the OG. Everything else is susceptible to governments. Even Ethereum, it's proof of stake. You own enough Ethereum, you control the network. Solana, you own enough Solana, you control the network. The voting process on the network, not the actual network. So for me, 105,000 minimum target. Arthur Hayes doesn't. People who comment on things like that are, I mean, again, his influence is far higher than ours, and his influence, in my opinion, is doing nothing but shaking the market, shaking the tree to get you out of the tree, so you fall out of the tree, and they run off with the Bitcoin. So the entire crypto space incredibly undervalued as society is unaware of what the industry has to offer. This is a different angle on the situation. And this is from Ava Labs. So Emin Gunsira believes that the masses are completely clueless about the technological innovations of crypto and blockchain. If this article had been written 25 years ago about the internet, it would read exactly the same way. So they believe the masses are completely clueless about the technological innovations of the internet. And internet technology, it reads exactly the same. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes. The CEO of Avalanche said this in a Real Vision interview. The entire crypto space is incredibly undervalued. I imagine he was talking to Raoul Pal, maybe. The space is too big, and the functionality it brings, the new things you can do here are just too valuable. And if anybody has any experience on Wall Street with what they actually use for accounting, what they use for reconciliation, what they use for automated services, what we can do in crypto is miles ahead of it. Exactly. But the key here is, when you think about how people talk about crypto, they talk about it replacing things. The internet replaced redundant things. It never replaced banking. It replaced how banking works. It never replaced books. It replaced how books work. It replaced how music works. It doesn't replace the thing itself. People seem to think that we're not going to have banks anymore. They think we're not going to have lenders anymore. They think the financial institutions are going to change. The fulfillment systems are going to change. None of that is going to happen. What you have to understand is crypto complements existing technology and existing companies. It will benefit the banking system. It will benefit trading. It will benefit you in more ways than one. It will benefit fulfillment. It will remove friction from the network. And that's what people need to understand. You're not going to wake up one morning and crypto will have solved the world's problems. But you will wake up one morning and the world will be a better place for crypto. So I do agree with him to some extent. And like I said, the internet has changed the world for the better over the last 25 years. Yes, we've got problems with social media and the way that extremism has taken a foot, but that's not a conversation for this channel. They don't know what smart contract chains can do for them. They haven't really seen a lending platform and how easy it is to use. They don't understand the efficiencies that flash loans can bring to finance. These are really amazing, and they don't understand the democratization that this space brings. I think society is way behind on the value proposition offered by these new systems. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this at all. 90% of the population are like sheep. They are herded from one direction to another, depending on the motivations of the governments. Society is led by its governments. Those governments are elected by society to lead them. So when governments tell people about crypto and how things can be beneficial, that's when people will understand. You cannot educate 6 billion people without the government doing it. The government is going to educate those people. Having 3, 4, 500 million people in crypto, they're the early adopters. 10 or 15% of humanity, they're early adopters. Then you get another 15 or 20% that are Me Too's that follow the adopters. And then the rest of the population just follows with whatever they're told. So crypto is about education. That's why it's important that you become an ambassador for crypto and you tell people about crypto in a positive light. Now, I do agree with him. I don't agree everything in crypto is good, but not everything on the internet is good. And you have to take the good with the bad. Now, I'm not going to bother looking at the AVAX chart. We're going to move on because we're going to run out of time and I'm on a tight schedule. So let's go and have a look. Now, RWA is the buzzword of the current quarter, if you like. RWA, real world assets, the tokenization of real world assets. We spoke about it when we had Samai on the AMA a few weeks ago. I covered how I think that Chainlink is going to be the best RWA token to hold. And this analyst has given you their top real world asset crypto picks. And we've talked about the BlackRock tokenized fund as well. So we're fairly up to date with everything apart from the picks. So let's go through these. Miles Dosha, remember, he is one of the, I wouldn't say he's one of the good guys. I'd say he's one of the clever guys. He knows what he's talking about. So we don't need to talk about what real world assets are. We know what they all are. Real estate, assets of high net worth, you know, oil paintings, cars, buildings, gold, whatever it might be. And you can tokenize them, but that's another can of worms. Not everything in the world can be tokenized. So let's go down. We don't need to talk about the growth. Here we go. So these are the top altcoin picks. Number 1, layer 1 and layer 2 blockchains, real world asset focus chains. We're not going to talk about Red Belly Network, but we are going to talk about Mantra, yes. Direct exposure, oracles, Link, absolutely. Pi, in time, yes. This is the key. This is the key. The reason that Chainlink is going to be a success is they connect and create interoperability between real world companies and the blockchain, and they do it across different blockchains. So they are connecting all of the real world spiders webs together with the blockchain spider webs. They're creating a great big meshed connection. At the minute, they've been working with Visa and MasterCard to on and off ramp USDC. It's going to take some time, but they are a huge pick for me. So real world asset specific protocols, dApps that provide the technology to facilitate DeFi apps. Ondo, we've talked about a little bit in the past. Pendle, we spoke about, and Frax. 3 very good projects. Again, when we talk about meme coins, we talk about creating meme coin bags. So a mini portfolio. You should have your main portfolio, which has got your Bitcoin and Ethereum in it. Then you should have small bags for your meme coins. I'd probably advise having the small bag of AI tokens, which we've talked about, and maybe looking at a small bag of real world asset tokens. And in that, I would certainly put Mantra, I would put Chainlink, I would put Ondo, Pendle, and Frax. There's 5. Certainly would look at them. Promising projects that have yet to launch, such as Lingo Coins and Trueflation. Trueflation we've looked at in the past. Trueflation is the one that monitors inflation across different countries, the UK and America in particular, and different categories: food, energy, housing, all those kind of things. Personally, I don't see the value in holding Trueflation tokens. They're a great product, they're absolutely spot on, but I don't see how it's ever going to generate the money to hold a decent price. So again, I wouldn't look at them, but I totally agree with at least 5 other tokens in here. And understand that this is the move that BlackRock wants. Why? Because they will own all of the pie of everything. BlackRock want to own every single asset because why? They control it. If they own 40% of a company or 20% of the company, they can sack the CEO, they can put a CEO in that they want, and they can control that company. If you look at the land purchasing in Eastern Europe, which we're not going to get into in great depth, the land purchasing is done by major companies. And those major companies have a huge portion of their shares owned by BlackRock. So, who owns the land? BlackRock. Who owns the financial institutions? BlackRock. Who owns the money supply? BlackRock. They own everything. They want to own Bitcoin. Okay? So, when you look at real world assets, you're going to piggyback on the back of the world's biggest financial institution. And it's not a bad idea. I hold Chainlink, but I personally don't hold any of those other coins just yet. As the bull run goes on, I might diversify into them. But like the meme said yesterday, I'm not going to be like certain other crypto people that own 500 projects and tokens. I don't do that. I've got about 10, 12, that's it. So crypto. CEO says we should get that typical XRP explosion higher, and here's why. XRP back in the news. XRP has experienced a significant rise in trading volume. That's a key. Not necessarily price, but trading volume. The volume is currently at 1.87 billion, showing a 99.95% increase over the last 24 hours. The trading volume surge has caused speculation of a potential price increase. XRP's present trading volume is on the high side from AI Pyrocrypts eval. XRP, I never forget all that nonsense, it's not relevant. Many attributes this surge in trading activity to Ripple's strategic move into the stablecoin market, which we covered last week. Again, people who fade XRP don't understand what XRP is going to do. Central bank digital currencies and now stablecoins. And they are building a platform that will allow for DeFi. So you do the math and you work out that XRP is going to be powering nation states blockchains for CBDCs and stablecoins. They are going to be a huge company, a unicorn. They're going to be massive. So don't fade XRP. It might have not done anything. You might be prodding it with a stick and wondering why it's not moving, but this is chess, not checkers. If you want to play checkers, go and buy meme coins. If you want to play chess, you buy the serious projects that will generate revenue. Where are all of these projects going to be in 5 years' time when they run out of money? They're not going to go cap in hand to the VCs and ask for more money, because the VCs are going to say you've had 10 years and you've done nothing. Chainlink, XRP, even ADA, serious projects solving serious problems that will generate wealth. Chainlink's revenue generation is scary. XRP's revenue generation will be scary. They're going to get a share of the stablecoin market. They're going to get a share of CBDCs. They are going to be huge. Matthew Dixon then. Massively increased trading volume in XRP shown by the EVA rating platform tells me there is serious interest bubbling away and we should get the typical XRP explosion higher at some point. Be ready. Now, this trading volume could be coming from potentially a closure in the case with Coinbase. Remember, I said this at least 4 times now. Nobody's going to buy XRP as an institution whilst the SEC case is hanging over its head. Nobody. No risk manager in their right mind in any of these organizations is going to greenlight the purchase of XRP. Never going to happen. Okay? Eventually, we are probably going to end up with an XRP ETF. Eventually, XRP will probably break a $100 billion market cap. And eventually, when the CBDC is alive and the stablecoin is live, XRP is going to be generating billions of dollars a year. These are all things that are going to happen in the near to medium term, 2 to 5 years. So I don't care if XRP is at 50 cents or 60 cents, because long term it's going to appreciate in value. The only threat, and this was the threat similar to the AI tokens, if somebody comes along who can beat them at their own game. And at this moment in time, they're such a big company. They have built out their own network of contacts, same as Chainlink. They've spent 2 or 3 years building out contacts in South America, in Eastern Europe, small nation states. It's going to take a long time for somebody to catch them, and I don't know who could. So expect over a period of time, I'm not going to agree with this at all. I don't think we're going to get $12 anytime soon. We want to talk realistically. See, this is more realistic. $1.20 for XRP, I think, is a realistic price. So let's very quickly go and look at the price. I'm so far behind. I've got 9 minutes. Let's go through the chart and have a quick look. And again, we do look at the same charts every week, but I try and mix it up so we don't look at the same coins on the same charts. Again, a lot of the things that we've talked about. Let's move the price that way a little bit so you can see. Chart is a little bit messy. Let's do that. Okay. This is the daily chart then. Let's move this along. Have a look at where we are. Same again. Hasn't changed. $1.20 is the target that they have given. My target is here, which is $1.31. $1.31, previous price action. Theirs is 121. I mean, it's not a million miles away. What's 10 cents between friends? It's not going to happen anytime soon. Remember, the wick of the SEC victory was 94 cents. So we have to break $1. Now, what is likely to happen over the coming months is we have some chop, and then potentially when the SEC case happens, we're going to come up to this $1. The key point here is, are we going to do this? Because if we break the $1 and we come back down and use it as support, then we are going up here to $1.30. That's 100% increase from where we are. We don't know when it's going to happen. It can happen anytime. Again, with a lot of these court cases, between the SEC, the judge, and XRP, it just drags on. I think at some point this year, we're going to have a closure. That's what's suppressing the price. But even so, with all that suppression, we still have this trend line. It's not gone anywhere. It's still here. That trend line is moving up, going all the way back to June 2022. It's almost 2 years we've been on that trend line. It's slowly moving up. The price back then was 26 cents. We're now at 61 cents. We're going to be moving up. We're going to hit that 70 cent mark, or should I say 72 cent mark, anytime soon. That's a 20% move. So I think the next move is here, maybe a little bit of retracement, and then here, 83. That's what I expect for XRP. But again, totally reliant on Bitcoin, totally reliant on the case, not financial advice. Now then, we've got 7 or 8 minutes left. Let's move on. Talk about the last article. And again, a FUD piece. And the reason these are FUD pieces is Cathie Wood runs a fund. And if you've ever had dealings with funds, they rebalance their portfolios an awful lot. So if they own 10 stocks and they have a policy in place where one stock can't be more than 15% of the portfolio, no matter how well that stock is doing, they have to sell it off. And you will hear Michael Saylor berate them for doing this because they are selling the fastest horse. And I have to agree with him with at some point. But you've also got to understand there's profit taking in there. You know, if you buy a meme coin and it goes up 500%, I would suggest selling 20, 30, 40% of that meme coin. So profit taking on one side, selling your fastest horse on the other. It's an investment decision. And Cathie Wood, I don't care what anyone says about her, she is amazing at what she does. She's well spoken, she's bright as a button, She runs a huge investment firm. ARK Investor's got its own Bitcoin ETF. She is in with the big boys, and she is top notch. One of my top 5 or 10 favorite people in crypto. And she's not technically in crypto. She runs a technology fund, but you know what I mean. She buys and sells shares of crypto related assets as well as tech stock as well. You know, as Tesla, she owns some Amazon stock, Apple, things like that. So she's she's a smart cookie, and again, well spoken as well. The only thing I disagree with her about a little bit is she started to give really outrageous targets for Bitcoin. At first it was $1 million. Now she's talking about $2.3 million Bitcoins. And I know she's got an ETF to sell. I know she's trying to bring people in. But it's a bit unrealistic to sell people a $2 million Bitcoin. We're not even at 100,000 yet, Kathy. I mean, come on. Let's talk serious numbers here. 100,000, 150,000 first. Let's not go all the way to 2 million. You're going to scare people off. So Kathy Wood goes through phases of selling different assets, and that's to rebalance the portfolio. So, and they're also, these funds are publicly traded, so we're going to find out. They have been selling Robinhood. Fair enough. They've also been selling another exchange that I'm not going to mention because we are on a live stream on different platforms. So they have got multiple funds. Let me just move that down a touch. They have got the ARK Innovation ETF, the ARK Next Generation Internet ETF, and ARK FinTech Innovation ETF. They have been selling shares to rebalance. On Friday, they trimmed so many shares of this company, and they've been making profits. And that's the thing that you need to understand about Kathy Wood. They're not here to fill your bags. They're not here to pump your bags. They are here to make their investors profits. And if Robinhood is up 300%, guess what? She's going to sell. If Tesla is up 600%, guess what? She's going to sell. She's not here for the technology. She's not here for the industry. She's here to make money. And these people, and the reason I talk a lot about Chainlink making money, is Avalanche going to make money? Is Solana going to make money? The reason I talk about this is you have to understand, if those chains don't make any money, they die. If those dApps don't make any money, they die. We are in the business of building a new industry, and that industry has to make money. It was the same 25 years ago when we came to the internet, and we were looking at all of these companies setting up around us that had no business model and no revenue generation. Amazon, if I'd have had a stream when Amazon started, I'd have berated it senselessly because it never made a profit for, I don't know, 10 years. It never made a penny. That's the issue. In business, you make money, you employ people, you pay dividends. People in crypto seem to forget that. And it's important that you have somebody like Kathy Wood that you watch or listen to or follow, because she's a money person and she's in the business of making profits. You are not going to buy stock in a business that's going to lose money because the share price will go down. You're in the business of picking up cheap stock. Why does she buy this stock a year ago? Because Bitcoin was on its backside. Why is she selling it now? Because we're on the day of the halving, the week of the halving, 2 weeks of the halving. And guess what? Potentially, all of those stocks are going to crash in 2 weeks' time. Maybe they'll correct 15%. And guess what Kathy Wood's going to do? She's going to come straight back in and buy those stocks back up to rebalance her portfolio in the next quarter or the quarter after. That's what she does. She's not here to be your friend. And as long as you know that, you should be happy. So, cryptocurrencies have been on a tear since 2023. We know about this. We know about this. The 3 previous halvings saw an explosive appreciation in the asset, said Mark Palmer. We don't care, Mark Palmer. We know all these things. So, on the whole, then, that is your stream done. And it is exactly 11:59. We have nailed it on another show. So, I'm going to give you my final thought. because we have a couple of times. I think at this moment in time, and I think I mentioned this yesterday as well, so I'm not going to go over it too much. If you're in crypto to make money and you are holding, let's say you're holding 5 or 6 of the top 10 cryptocurrencies, on average, you're going to do very well over the next 18 months. If you're new to crypto and you've never been here before, this is my 3rd cycle. This is my 3rd crypto cycle. In the first one, I had no idea what I was doing. In the second one, I had an idea what I was doing, and I was a little bit more up with it. This cycle, because I've been through the previous 2, what you tend to do is you hold too long, and then you get caught holding the baby. And the plan you should make is to decide, can you create a dollar cost average, what's the word for it, exit from Bitcoin and crypto at the end of this bull run? Do you have a plan? Can you say to yourself, I know my plan for getting out of crypto in 12 to 18 months' time? Do I have that plan? Does that plan involve selling everything? Does that plan involve selling everything but Bitcoin? Does that plan involve having a dollar cost average price out for all of those assets? And if the answer is no, you have plenty of time to make a plan. You need a plan. That's the thing that I didn't have in the previous 2 cycles. In the first cycle, which was, what would that have been, 2016? No idea what was going on. Bitcoin was at $18,000. I bought it at $1,000. I was like, this is fantastic. This is amazing. Look at how much money I've made. Didn't have a plan. Rode it all the way down to 3,000. Started to accumulate again. Ran up to 69,000 in the previous bull cycle. Was expecting it to go to 100,000. It never happened. I was left holding my bag. And to be fair, I was probably never going to sell my Bitcoin anyway, but I should have sold my alts. This cycle, my personal plan is to sell every dime of everything I've got in crypto apart from Bitcoin. And I don't know where Bitcoin is going to go to. What I do know, in the bear run that we're going to have after the bull cycle, the alts are going to get trashed again. Even if it's only 70 or 60%. We've had 95% drawdowns. So, have a plan, write it down, put it in a spreadsheet. A column of your cryptocurrencies, a column of what you've paid for it, a target price. Now, if you want a good starter for what to look at for a target price, a good place to start is this website. This is called CoinGoLive. I am not sponsored by them. They do not support the channel in any way, shape or form. This gives you the date of the all-time high. This gives you the all-time high price. This gives you everything you need to know. Now, what you should be doing is you should be noticing that there are coins. Where is it? Where is that coin I'm looking for? ICP. There are coins that are never going to get back to their all-time high ever again. And there are coins that will. I'm just trying to see if I can see it. There it is. Of course it's there. Okay. ICP is at $15. I think a good run for ICP in this bull market, for example, is $100. It's never going to go back to $700. It's 97% off its all-time high. Why? Because that was an artificial price. It was pumped by FTX and it should be reset to a lower price. I think $100 for that. So use this CoinLive to give yourself an exit strategy. Set the all-time high price for each of these tokens and then multiply it by where you think the bull run is going to go. I think we could go 4 times higher than where we are now to 10 trillion. That would put Bitcoin at this current price, $250,000. It would give Ethereum a target of about $14,000. Just use it as a rule of thumb, just to give you a target. They can change in the future. If Solana is at $3,000 in the next at the end of the bull run, I won't be surprised. But I also won't be surprised if it's at $1,000. So look at its previous all-time high and times it by maybe 3 or 4, something around that figure. That gives you a rough idea of what you were going to make in this bull run. And I know you will watch people that are going to tell you that we're going to have, excuse me, that you're going to see a $1,000 XRP. You're going to see a $3 Doge. You're going to see a $25 ADA. You're going to start to see these prices. Don't listen to them. They come up every 4 years. They are like Mariah Carey at Christmas. They appear in November and they're gone by January the 1st, right? They're going to pop up because it's clickbait. And I'm sure I could quite happily go out and start to make videos that say Dogecoin to $5, ADA to $25, and I would get lots more people watching my videos than I do. But I don't do that because it's irresponsible. So make a plan. That's my final thought. And if you need help and you don't know how to make a plan, we will do a live stream specifically on a portfolio, and we will value that portfolio based on all-time highs multiplied by a number to give you where we think it can go. If you want us to make that video, if you want us to do that live stream, we will do it on a Wednesday night and we will talk you through it. We'll get spreadsheets up. We'll explain how it all works. We'll tell you how to make the spreadsheet. We'll give you some non-financial advice targets for your coins, and we'll try and do it for you. But if you don't want that, that's fine. We won't do it. But if you do want it, we will make it for you. And that is the end of the stream. It's 12:06. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget, we don't make a great deal of money out of these streams. We don't make a great deal of money out of crypto because we don't accept bribes from scams and shillers. We do this to try and help you because I didn't have anybody like me to watch 4 years ago. So I know what it's like, and I know what it was like 8 years ago. So to help us grow, we need more people following us. We need more subscribers. And yes, at some point, we're going to get sponsors and we're going to do more and more sponsored videos. But we are never going to let go of our moral high ground that we're on. So help us get bigger. Make sure, the other thing you can do is tell people to follow us as well. If you've got friends that want to get into crypto, tell them about Crypto Warehouse. Tell them to follow us on the exchange that you're on. Tell them to follow us on the video platform that we're on. And I'm going to go because I've got 20 minutes to get to this place I've got to go to. So I'm going to go now. Thank you, everybody, for watching. See you all in the morning. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to all the regulars. I will see you 11 o'clock sharp tomorrow morning with another show. Take care, everybody. When I find the stream to turn it off, everything's lagging as expected. Hang on a second. Where are we? You know when you can't end a stream because you literally can't. There we go. Okay. Right. I'll see you all in the morning. Thanks, Tata. Thanks, Mags. Thanks, Solo. Kishan. Everybody that's watched. Take care, everybody.